April is gone, May is done, spring is over for 2023, so let's take a look at what NeoSPCC has done. And we start with NeoFS. We have made 2 releases of the node, delivering all of the previously made changes. The biggest thing delivered in 0.36.0 is internal consensus node. But both releases have a number of important fixes, so if you are playing with NeoFS in some way, make sure you're using the latest. Both devenv and AIO were upgraded as well. After a lot of testing and preparation, we have finally released contracts 0.17.0 and have upgraded the NeoFS mainnet network to this version. This means that NeoFS sidechain is notary-enabled now, and this in turn means that if you see NeoFS working, then the notary subsystem, Hi NeoGo, works as well. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, please refer to the legendary 1573 issue of the Neo project. For us, this makes the system more robust, responsive, and easier to maintain, because currently we have both mainnet and testnet using basically the same configuration. We have released 2 new SDK versions, RC8 and RC9. You of course should be using the latest one, and we have delivered a pretty substantial number of changes in each of them, simplifying our APIs as much as we could. And now we're planning for RC10 that will bring some pool changes into it, simplifying this interface as well and making it more consistent with the client interface. And that's going to be the biggest change before we declare it stable and then releasing the 1.0. As we have said previously, we are currently working on making NeoFS contracts deploy and update with NeoFS inner ring nodes, deployment and upgrades. So this work turned out to be a little more tougher than we originally expected. So we are changing the release schedule for it. It's not going to be included in 0.37.0 release, but it's likely to be ready by the time we're going to release 0.38.0. SendFS Neo.org website front-end part became public late May, so if you are interested in how it works, then you can now take a look at it as well. Previously we have released the backend part of it, and now you can also take a look at the front end, which actually was reworked quite substantially because we have fixed some things and fixed the engine behind it to React, and now it's also deployed to the SendFS Neo.org website, and you can take a look at the source of it. There are times when we add something to the protocol, and there are also times when we are removing something. One of the things recently removed was the notaryless support, and it's gone for obvious reasons. All of the networks we run are notary-enabled now, and we no longer need it, and this code wasn't really tested for quite some time, so it was a pleasant experience deleting it. Now we are removing subnet support from the SDK, and SDK RC9 actually have already removed this part, and the next thing is we will be removing it from the node. And this feature wasn't really used on a public network, so I don't think it's gonna be missed by someone. And actually it turned out that most of the problems that this feature tried to solve can be solved in another way. So we will be rolling out some new features replacing things that Subnet provided, but currently we're trying to slim down the protocol to make it easier to support the thing that we have. Time to talk NeoGo side of things. We are monitoring closely the developments in C# community regarding the core protocol and new features that are going to be part of the 3.6 release. We have implemented all of them, and NeoGo technically is compatible with the master branch of the C# node. So we have also implemented, of course, the zero knowledge proof extensions that are going to be a part of the next release. And while waiting for the 3.6 to be released, we have also fixed some bugs of NeoGo that we, of course, have. And we have also implemented some CLI improvements to make the node a little more usable in some cases, like providing some simpler way to provide configuration to the node and make some commands, interface a little more user-friendly. So this also is going to be a part of the next NeoGo release. Another cool thing implemented in NeoGo during this time frame is ability to auto-generate code that extracts events from application logs and notifications and transforms them into some proper Go types and makes them available for the backend to process. So this simplifies interactions with RPC considerably because you no longer have to manage these stack items and these stack item types manually. It's all done automatically just based on the contract manifest. That's the only thing you need to get these wonderful auto-generated RPC bindings that are extended now with this additional data. While we were working on the previously mentioned feature, we have also noticed that our compiler can be improved. And we have previously never tried to auto-derive the notification types from the code, but in many cases it can be done, and this allows you to omit the event specification from the configuration file that we currently are requiring for every contract to have. So this currently is implemented in additional compiler option, guess event type, that you can use and just basically drop the event specification from configuration and let it be derived from the code itself. We've got a pretty big to-do list for NeoGo in the form of Neo project issues and proposals that we have submitted over the past months. And we will be gradually working on them, starting with the RPC error proposal that's sitting in the queue for quite some time, but we just had no time to really dig into it, to really implement it, because conceptually it's already done and written and fine, but it just needs to have some code behind it, some real code. So we'll be working on them, but keep in mind that it's summer now and probably there are going to be some vacations for people around, so I guess our progress is going to be a little slower than usual during this time, but eventually these things are going to be done, of course.